So, what is the best car company?
By Andrew Adam and Ryan Yonka.
So, we're going to start with Toyota. Toyota is known for being a pretty reliable car. It's from Japan, about 210,705 miles to our worthlessness. That pretty much means you can expect at least that many miles out of the car. My mom's Toyota Sienna has 300,000 miles on it. Usually you can buy a Toyota around $15,000 to $6,000, and it gets about 21 to 133 miles per gallon depending on the model. 133 is just for electric cars. You can probably expect 21 to 35 for not electric cars.
Alright, so next up we got Ford. The typical miles that these cars run is 198,000 miles until they are worthless. They have, on average, depending on the model, 11 to 42 miles per gallon. That is not including electric cars. And then it is American made, straight out of Detroit, you know what I'm saying? And then the prices range from in stock from $14,000 to about $57,000.
Ford is also not known for being a very reliable car. My dad calls it the found on road dead because they're often found on the road dead because they're not very reliable. For Nissan, usually you can find a Nissan from $12,000 to $100,000. They're a Japanese car. You can usually expect about 195,000 miles until they're worthless. 13 to 122 miles depending on the model. That's including electric cars. And Nissan produces sedans, trucks, SUVs, cargos, and hybrids. They're a pretty reliable car, but they do have issues here and there.
All right, next up we got Tesla. It is electric cars. They were one of the first to make the all premium sedan. The goal of Tesla is to have a zero emission future, clean up all that global warming kind of thing. And then they make SUVs, sedans, and semis, but not yet. They're probably though. And then the Model X, of course, is one of their best cars with the best 0 to 60 out of pretty much any supercar you can think of. And it is also a very nice car, and it's going to be very popular.
Tesla is going to be the car of the future probably because it's saving the planet because it's like zero emissions and all of that. And also because the semi-truck they're making, semis are all over the road obviously, but they're working on a car that is electric and it can probably get around 1 million miles on it until it's worthless, but that hasn't been completed yet. They're also working on a car that can drive itself. That'll probably be very expensive. Teslas usually go for around how much money?
They're about starting at, I'd say, $45,000. They can range anywhere up to close to $200,000 depending on the model.
They do get expensive, but the amount of money you pay for gas obviously pays off because you're never going there. Next we have the Subaru. The Subaru is a very safe and reliable car. You can usually get about 19 to 90 miles per gallon depending on the model. Usually 198,000 miles until it's worthless. It usually lasts pretty far, but you can probably get more. It's a Japanese model, and you can usually get a Subaru from $19,000 to $132,000. Produces sedans and SUVs. Subaru is usually a pretty good car for like a teenage driver because it's really safe and reliable, and it's decently cheap.
All right, next up we got my personal favorite, the Jeeps. These cars normally have 195,000 miles to them on average, and so they do become worthless. Jeeps aren't really that too reliable once they get up in that miles number. Start to have a lot of little problems with the car itself. Prices typically range from the in-stock from $18,000 to $33,000. You can definitely find other souped-up ones somewhere for close to $60,000, even more. It's all depending on how you like them, really. They can make it either way. and they normally have 13 to 27 miles per gallon, depending on the type of model. Non-electric, so not a whole lot of gas mileage coming out of this brand, but still a solid-looking car.
It looks cool, but also has a lot of issues. They're also known to tip if you like turn too fast or something like that, so safety on it also becomes an issue at times. Next, we're gonna talk about the Range Rover. Range Rover is a part of Land Rover. It usually gets 15 to 28 miles per gallon depending on the model. These are kind of expensive cars. They get from $90,000 to $178,000 depending on the model. They only produce SUVs. They're a British car, and they can usually get you around 163 miles until worthless. 160,000 miles until worthless, but they can definitely get you more than that. Yeah.
Next up, we got Mercedes, one of the nicer, more affordable car brands out there. Typically have 182,000 miles until they are worthless. That's on average. They make a variety of different cars. So they have Sprinters, which are like big vans that have a very low number of miles you can go up to. But some of their sports cars can actually go up to close to 300,000 miles. They're very durable cars. They can last a while. Easy repairs kind of thing. Just a wide variety. That's why that's like kind of their average. Stock prices are from a wide range from 26,000 to 124,000, but definitely can get higher than that. But based on stock and most popular kind of cars, that's around their price range that you're going to find. And they do have, depending on the model, 14 miles per gallon to 28 miles per gallon. So not terrible gas mileage, not too great either. So yeah.
They're a luxury car that's often pretty common on the roads because it's not incredibly expensive. It is pretty expensive, but for a luxury car, it's not too bad. Next, we're talking about the BMW. It's a German-made car. They do make electric cars, so they get 16 miles per gallon to 113 miles per gallon for the electric car. Usually you can find these from $35,000 to $150,000. They make sedans, SUVs, electric cars, and convertibles, and they can usually get you around 200,000 miles until they're worthless. These are very popular cars, luxury cars like the Mercedes, but they're really popular because they're also very reliable and pretty safe.
Next up we got Chevrolet. So on average, these cars have 195,000 miles until they do become worthless. And then in-stock prices typically range from 13,000 to 55,000. And then they have 13 miles per gallon to 46, depending on the model. Chevy is one of the most awarded car brands out there. Very popular car brand. A lot of people you see on the roads with Chevys, from Tahoes to Silverados to Malibus. Pretty much anything they make, sedans, trucks, SUVs, crossovers, convertibles. So just another very popular brand out there in competition with something like Toyota.
Next, talking about Honda. It's a pretty similar car to the Toyota or anything like any of those kind of cars. It's a very mainstream car. It's very safe, very reliable. Not too many issues you'll have with it. Get you about 209 miles on it until it's worthless, but it can obviously get more miles than that. It does make an electric car. It can probably get you around 21 to 114 miles per gallon, so pretty good miles per gallon. And it's a pretty cheap car, $17,000 to $36,000 for a 2019 model. It produces sedans, SUVs, vans, and trucks, and it's a Japanese car.
Alright, so next we have Dodge, co-owned by Jeep, Chrysler, and Dodge. Kind of a one business kind of thing. These typically have 178,000 miles until worthless, so kind of significantly less, but they can also go more, so not really the longest lasting car brand out there. The range in stock, or the price range in stock cars typically run from 22,000 to 30,000, and then they have 13 to 23 miles per gallon, depending on the model. These are more your, especially with the Challenger, like a muscle car. So big engines. Seeing the Ram, seeing the Challenger, Charger. So yeah.
Now talking about the Lexus, it's a higher class car from Japan. It usually gets you around 15 to 44 miles per gallon depending on the model. Over 200,000 miles until it's worthless, and you can probably get one for about $40,000 to $100 depending on the model. They are kind of expensive, but they're a luxury car and they're a pretty reliable luxury car. It's like a nicer version of a Toyota. It gets you a lot of miles, very reliable, all that sort of thing. And it produces sedans and SUVs. And the Pontiac G6 is my car that I have, well, one of my cars that I have. And it's the best car out there, of course. Mine's 2009, but they're not made anymore because they're part GMC, and GMC discontinued Pontiac. My car gets over 30 miles per gallon on the highway, and it has 211,000 miles on it, and it's still going pretty strong. It's aerodynamic, get some good aerodynamics up there, but yeah, pretty good car. And then here's our works cited page, Ms. Hensley.
Yeah.